So, upper cross syndrome. This is something that is pretty common. Most people don't realize what it is or what it's involved or that they may even have it. But this really happens when there's an imbalance in the neck, the deep neck flexors, the upper back, the chest, the shoulders. It really comes from poor posture, and a lot of times it comes from incorrect movements, repetitively making certain movements in a way that the body's not really designed to do it. So that creates some issues with the body. The shoulders tend to roll in, a little rounded upper back, you may have noticed that. So the shoulders with that rolling in, it causes, well, basically it causes the muscles of the upper neck, the suboccipitals, to be pulled, so they stay stiff. The lower trapezies, they become a little weakened. The upper chest or near the pecs, they become a little stiff. So it's just kind of, the body's out of sorts. So it tends to create some issues, and generally this happens to people, it could happen to anyone, but it happens a lot to people who may sit at a desk all day looking at a screen. They're kind of looking down, or even if they're not looking at a screen when they're writing, they're kind of hanging down. So the body tends to curve in a little bit, creating that arched back. Or we could just be looking at our cell phones a lot, or even when we're just home sitting down, if we aren't watching our posture, if we don't sit up straight, if we're sitting in a couch or a chair and we're kind of slouched over, we got kind of comfortable, or we think we are, doing that repetitively can create this issue, that rounded over shoulders, the tension in the neck, and causing the chest to be stiff. And this basically leads to some muscles being overactive and some muscles being underactive. So there has to be, we have to find that imbalance. What is creating that imbalance? A lot of times people may have neck pain, numbness or tingling in the arms and fingers, shoulder pain, lower back pain is another indicator, restrictive movement of the head and neck a lot of times. And a lot of times it creates headaches. So it's something that is to be taken seriously. But I'd like to share with you a few exercises or a few drills that we use in corrective exercise therapy that can help. One of the first and most important ones is it's called a chin tuck with a lacrosse ball. So I have a little lacrosse ball here, and what this does, it really focuses on the suboccipital muscles that are on either side of the cervical spine. These muscles are responsible for extending the neck and the head forward. They're also responsible for helping to rotate the head and neck. So it makes sense that we want to make sure that these muscles have the greatest mobility to start with, and then we can work from there. So what we simply do for this drill is place the ball down on the floor, or you can use it against the wall. Knees are bent, feet are firmly on the floor, and that ball goes on one side or the other of the spine. You don't want to set it directly on the spine, but it's a little high up in the head, so it targets those occipital, suboccipital muscles. Your neck is neutral, you're looking straight up. You just try to relax, and you slowly send your chin towards your chest. Just kind of roll down, and you can feel that ball rolling on the muscles in the lower neck, upper neck, on the back of the head. It puts a little tension there, and it kind of, basically it's sort of a massage, but you hold that position for a little bit. You just hold, relax, take a deep breath, and then you roll back to a neutral position. And you just want to repeat that several times. You can do that for a minute on each side, a minute or two on each side, and it kind of massages those muscles. That helps to relax them. But just remember, you just don't want to put that directly in the center on the spine itself. It goes on one side or the other. While you're doing that, it kind of helps those muscles to loosen up a bit, because they are definitely going to be overactive. Another drill or exercise that we could do is called a cervical rotation. You simply use a towel or a shirt or a rag, whatever the case may be. Basically, when you turn your head to the right, there's what is called down glide and up glide. If you're turning your head to the right, the muscles on the right side of the cervical spine, they go down to help pull the head that way. The muscles on the opposite side are moving up. When those muscles become stiff due to upper cross syndrome, when they become stiff or underactive, it makes it difficult to have that full range of motion. So this tends to help with the down glide and up glide. So you're basically, if you're going to turn your head to the right, you want your hand to be on the towel on the right side. You want to pull it down, and on the other opposite side, the left, you want to bring that towel up by your ear, right along the jawline. And you just turn. As you're turning your head, you are adding moderate pressure downward on the right, as well as adding moderate pressure as you pull to the left with that left hand. So it's helping with the down glide and up glide of those muscles. That it's kind of acting as a catalyst to help move those muscles as your head is moving. Now, when you get to the end of that range of motion, you should feel a slight tilt in your head to the right. So it rotates, 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 and then there's a slight tilt. You can stop there. You don't want to cause discomfort. That kind of indicates that you're at the end of your range of motion, which if you need to, you can gradually increase over time. But you can do these. You can do 5 or 6 repetitions for 3 sets on each side. You just switch it up and you pull gently. You don't want to put too much force, but you're just keeping it close to the neck, pulling downward and upward, and then bring it back. And it helps to mobilize those muscles that are responsible for the upward and downward glide and helping to protect and move the head along the cervical spine. One more exercise that you could do is one that we probably all have done. I'm sure we all have heard of it, and it's a simple plank. Remember, when you are doing, when you have upper cross syndrome, you tend to roll in, the shoulders are rolled in, the back is arched. Well, if you focus on doing your planks correctly, what happens is whether you're on your hands or your elbows, your hands are down, the arms serve as pillars to keep those shoulders pressed back, and you keep the body straight. You keep the core engaged. So automatically, instead of rolling in, the pressure from your hands going to the floor pushes those shoulders back. And you just hold it, and you keep a nice straight line. You want to make sure that you don't arch. You just keep a good straight line. If you need to, go to your knees, or you can go to your elbows. But the key is to keep the chest up so that you are keeping good pressure on the shoulders, rolling them back, as opposed to allowing them to roll in. So those are just 3 of the many exercises that we use in corrective exercise therapy when someone has upper cross syndrome. These drills and these therapies, along with massage therapy from a qualified, competent massage therapist in the area. There are several I can think of. India Saunders, Jen Mishu, she makes house calls, so she is really good. Using those individuals or individuals that you know who are competent when it comes to that. And also chiropractic adjustment helps a lot. Highly recommend looking into Graybar Chiropractic. They are awesome, excellent staff, very knowledgeable, very helpful. But using those avenues along with exercise therapy or corrective exercise can really help with creating developing those good habits of having a good posture, getting rid of the upper cross syndrome, and just keeping that back up and straight, helping with those overactive and underactive muscles. So if you have any other questions or issues concerning upper cross syndrome or corrective exercise therapy, or any of the individuals that I mentioned, feel free to give me a call and I'll be glad to give you more information. Thanks.